Hi, my name is Paul Somerville. I'm running as an independent candidate in Dublin South East. My biggest fear is that although we are about to change some of the names and faces in the Dáil, the country will go back to politics as usual after the initial euphoria. We cannot allow that to happen. We need a strong group of independents, not muzzled by the party whip system, to put the interests of the country first, above party politics. Ireland faces huge economic challenges in the next 18 months, and we need people like me with the competence, experience and economic expertise to navigate our path. Firstly, we need to sort out our banking problems by separating the bank debt from the sovereign debt and making those who took reckless gambles on our banks pay for their mistakes. It was this catastrophic mistake by the previous government to hitch our bank to our sovereign debt that ensured that the crisis turned from a banking crisis to a sovereign debt crisis. It shows a total lack of understanding of how the financial crisis will be resolved. Secondly, we need a European-wide resolution of our sovereign debt crisis that is coming our way in the next 2 years. At all times during this crisis, our government has been reactive, not proactive. They at all times were over-optimistic, factually incorrect, and they just hoped the problem would go away. It won't. We need to be at the forefront of the decision-making in Europe and not waiting like victims for the solution to be thrust upon us. This is a European problem. We need Rottweilers negotiating on our behalf, not the spineless and weak lambs that signed the IMF-EU deal. I would like to be part of that negotiating team. I suppose the most unfortunate thing about the previous 2.5 years is because we failed to sort out the banks, we have forgotten about the real economy and the creation of jobs. But there are solutions and there is hope. To break the downward spiral in our economy, there has to be wrenching and radical change. No half measures will do. A total overhaul of our competitiveness and the structures of our decision-making process are what's required. Our large export sector is doing well, but we need to put small business at the heart of the recovery. They will be where the jobs will come. That means tackling the overinflated rates, where the money disappears down a black hole, the high utility costs, the penal lease laws. We must do everything to encourage small business to take on staff. Above all, we need to attack the cosy cartels and fee structures across all sectors of the sheltered domestic economy. We of course need to tackle political reform, but I am not in favour of abolishing the Seanad. I believe that announcement is a populist, short-term political gimmick to win cheap votes that will come back to haunt us. Yes, Seanad needs radically to be reformed and a different way found to elect the members of the chamber. But we will need a second chamber functioning properly. Now, it's easy to make vacuous statements that we must end cronyism at all levels. But how would we do that? My first idea is to have a committee system with teeth, fully televised and compelled by law to answer questions. We will hold those at the top of our decision-making process to account. Accountability and transparency is at the heart of an end to cronyism. Could you imagine the civil servants that were exempt from the pay cuts having to come in front of a committee with me and others like it to explain why? Imagine those overpaid HSE administrators having to justify their inflated salaries. It would be a good start. Well, as regards the Croke Park Agreement, for me, this is part of the example of our blind ability to self-delude. The public servants agree to deliver efficiencies that they will not deliver, and our government agrees to pay with money we don't have. The deal must be revisited. But please be clear, this should not worry frontline or low-paying staff. It is the salaries and the numbers at the top that need to be looked at, and mandatory redundancies must be a part of that. Solutions must also be found for those ordinary citizens caught up with the personal and mortgage debt that they will not be able to pay. The property developers have been bailed out by NAMA, the bond traders have been bailed out by the government. There is a tsunami of debt coming down the road for ordinary citizens, and they must be helped. There's not enough time in this video to go through all our ideas, but please have a look at my website, www.paulsomerville.com, where there is more information. And finally, if you want a straight-talking, passionate, independent-thinking TD to represent you, please vote Paul Somerville #1 on Feb 25th, and together we can fix this broken country.